This is the most common path for everybody. Full-time employment, full-time job, 40-hour work week, but you know it's not for you, it's sucking your energy, but it's a temporary bridge from where you are to where you want to go. And if you have the right mindset around this, then this period in your entrepreneurial journey is actually a really rewarding season. But you cannot have a negative attitude about it and expect positive results. Next question was from Brian. What's up, Brian? How you doing, man? You're up next.
I'm here.
You said hopefully you can attend the call live. You are live, which is so cool. I keep getting on calls with people who've seen the Nagic presentation but don't qualify for financing. I know a no now can be a yes later, but bills can't be paid with IOUs. 100%. I get that. I don't know why my ads keep attracting people who either ghost me after 2 follow-ups or just want to take a look without real effort. How can I filter better from the start to attract those who are actually qualified and ready to move? Right now, my process is they fill out a 2-minute survey, name, employment, credit range. We chat briefly in Messenger. I send them a 20-minute business clip. We hop on a discovery Zoom call. I get them set up on the platform to watch the videos. We do a final call to answer questions and help them get started. I know I'm close to a breakthrough, but something feels off. Any advice on how to refine this process and start attracting more of the right people? Yeah, man, this is a great question. I know you provided a lot of context, which I appreciate. You've been on these calls, you know that's important, so great job. My question to you, based on this overall question and process that you're sharing, is how many of these calls now have you done where this was the outcome total?
By myself or just in general?
In general, the process, like I don't know if someone else was helping you with calls prior to this and it was the same outcome and now you're doing them on your own.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was pretty much the same kind of outcome just
Okay.
because I got people on,
How many total calls have gone through this with this outcome?
well, all of them.
I need a number.
Or like 20 at least.
20. Okay. So let's talk about some potential adjustments that you can make. Part of what's going on, I think, is you're not dialing in and being specific enough. It's a little bit too open-ended right from the start. So you need to go all the way back to the very first thing that someone would see, which is usually an ad, but also at the same time, audit your content on your organic posting because there's a good chance that they're seeing both and they might even start with the organic before they click on an ad or go into the funnel. So you need to really just dial in and emphasize this whole entire challenge that you face and turn it into a positive where you're like, this is who I'm here to serve. This is who I'm here to work with. If you're not this type of person, this isn't for you. And just kind of lay it out a lot more directly, straight shooting, and not like trying to lure them in by not mentioning the finance or not mentioning the thing until they're deeper down, because maybe you have a belief that if they're deeper into the funnel or they've seen enough information, they're more likely to be solution oriented and figure it out, as opposed to kind of starting there and just getting rid of them if they're not a good fit. So I think
Right.
that that's what you've most likely been doing is like, let's just kind of keep it hush hush. And eventually when they find out, they'll want it so bad that they'll get a cosign or they'll sell their car or they'll find a way to get in. And clearly that's not been the outcome for you so far. So I
Right.
would flip the whole thing completely on a reverse and almost start with like, this is who it's for. This is what is required. These are the benefits. And if you want to know more, click here. So you're almost starting off with the stuff that's been the main reason they're not starting to get it like out of the way, right? To save you time and money on your ads and your calls that are not being converted, you know, not closing essentially. That's the first place I would start. Fixing your funnel and revamping your application process is the next piece. So you can ask some qualifying questions on your form that you said you have, like a survey. If one example could be, if this is a fit, are you in a position to invest X to X? So let's say 5,000 to 10,000, depending on the package. Are you in a position to invest 5,000 to 10,000 to launching your business? Question, yes or no, right? That's going to filter people. Another question you could ask is, which best describes you? A, I'm financially ready. B, I'm finding financing now. Or C, I'm not ready to invest yet. And then if they choose C, you disqualify them right away. And there's no booking link option after they pick that. So they can't even get on your calendar and waste your time. You just get rid of them. But ideally, in that scenario, when that happens, You've collected their name and email, they're on an email list, and you're still able to follow up, which goes back to what you said. A no right now doesn't mean a yes later. You still follow up, but that 1 hour of your calendar does not get wasted now. And you continue to follow up, market to them, etc. And when they're ready, they can book back in, and then you can help them at that time. So you're actually getting the best of both worlds in that scenario. You could also reposition how the business video is set up, because you said that you take them through a process and then you kind of give them the business videos to complete. You can reframe it from a go and watch this before we talk to a this is a step to be vetted. So it's a qualifying step. You need to watch this in order for me to even consider working with you, because you need to know what this is about. And then if it's not for you, that's fine. And the message could be something like, I'm sending this to you to make sure you're serious. It's for those who are ready to invest in themselves and take real action. If you watch it and feel like it isn't for you, I 100% respect that, but please don't book a call unless you're ready to move forward. So you can kind of start to take that game more seriously by having them perceive you as a more serious person, that like you don't waste time. Like this is not, I don't, this is not what we do here. And the finally is if you're doing any sort of back and forth conversation in DMs or Messenger, you can start to talk like and say things like, we only work with serious action taking individuals who are financially ready or actively working on a solution. Is that where you're at right now? You'll very quickly find out if they're a tire kicker or they're like resourceful. And even if they haven't been able to get financing or have the money immediately, they're like actively trying to do it, which in that case, I still work with those people. I still give them homework. I still get them some training to set up their business, set up their page. Because if you're using a front end system that is like a 99 per month or something like this, sometimes they can afford the front end system, but not the Enagic products yet. You can even say that to them as well. Say, hey, look, for 99 a month, you can go through the training, you can set up your business, like you can go through the learning curve, which you're going to have to go through anyways, and then just actively find a solution to get the funds to get the like main business investment where you're actually going to make the high ticket commissions. But in the meantime, you don't have to not start. You don't have to quit. You don't have to say this isn't for me. You might just do the 99 a month for several months, and then boom, month 3, month 4, month 5, or whatever the case is, you might be ready to get an Enagic and you're already off to the races at that point, right? So if someone is hungry, willing, and coachable, then don't discredit them or don't act like you're not going to work with them just because they haven't got their Enagic products. Just do it in a very leveraged way where you're not spending all your time messaging back and forth and like talking to them. You basically just say the system is here. Everything you need is inside the system. It's on you to complete it and take action and do it at a self-led, do-it-yourself pace. But I'm going to go on and like keep building my business. And when you're ready, we'll take it to another level of partnership once you get your Enagic products. That's totally all good. And somebody might need 3, 6, 12 months at 99 a month to literally get this world-class online business education that is going to eventually set them up for success once they get Enagic ready to go, if that makes sense. Cool. Is that helpful in some ideas for
Absolutely.
you to revamp some things?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to watch this like 10 more
Yeah,
times
that's why we
and
that's why
implement
we record them. So you can go back, you can implement, you can test a few things out, and definitely that's going to be helpful for you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome, Brian. Next person is Jerome. What's up, Jerome? I saw you here earlier. You still on here with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, how are you, man? You said, thanks for all the things you do for this business and community. Much appreciated. You're welcome, brother. Your question is, I feel like I'm skipping 1,000 steps going from an employee mindset, just doing the bare minimum, into a high achieving online business owner. I am almost 2 years in this business and I do Enagic part-time next to my 40-hour-a-week job. Although I would love to leave my energy sucking job as soon as possible, I also realize that it gives me a decent ad budget so I can keep building my business. However, this combination also gives me the feeling that my Enagic business is a side hustle, which I know it's absolutely not. I really want to feel like I'm an entrepreneur, and although I am daily working on my business and trying new stuff, attending every team call, this feeling of being in a side hustle is hard to move, and you also see that in my results with no sales yet. Do you have any tips on that? I don't have any previous experience of being an entrepreneur or making money online. I only know the 9 to 5, to be honest. Should I just leave my job and just go full time, or do another job that's more entrepreneurial focused, something like sales, for example? Would love to hear your thoughts and tips on that. This is a powerful question. Definitely. So thanks for asking this. You have to remember something before I even get into this, is this is the most common path for everybody. Okay. You are in a very common path of full-time employment, full-time job, 40-hour work week, but you know it's not for you. It's sucking your energy. Like you said, it's not your future, but it's a
Hmm.
temporary bridge from where you are to where you want to go. And if you have the right mindset around this, then this period in your entrepreneurial journey is actually a really rewarding season. Okay? But you cannot have a negative attitude about it and expect positive results. So you have to frame everything that you currently have as a win, as a positive, as something you're grateful for, because you could be homeless trying to do this and you aren't. You're in a great position. You said you have some disposable income for ads. You have some free time where you're not working 80, 90, 100 hours a week, only 40, which is very manageable, which gives you technically another 40, a week to work on your business because 80-hour work weeks are quite common for lots of people, especially in 2025. And you can do 40 in your job and 40 on your business. And that is a very special place that you're actually in. So honor that, give yourself credit, and don't give yourself the negative vibe of like, I'm 2 years in and I'm not here and I'm no sales, which may be the facts, but how we position it is it's still only 2 years, not 20. See, everything could be reframed, right? So 2 years is technically a very Mickey Mouse amount of time to learn something like this. And I'm sure you've changed, you've grown, you've become a new person in those 2 years, even without the sales. So 2 years haven't been wasted. They've just been going towards certain parts of yourself that needed to grow first. Fair? Would you agree
Yeah.
with that? Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, my
Okay.
health improved massively. So
Exactly. And so all of these things are hugely positive. And now what you need to start to do is that you have two mindsets happening simultaneously. When you are in your job and you're around your coworkers, when you're in traffic, when you're doing the 9 to 5 lifestyle, what I want you to do is be hyper aware of your surroundings. I want you to look around and I want you to observe people. Do they seem happy? Do they seem like, they're living their dreams, or is there content everywhere you look? Does that make sense?
yeah, I
Because
understand.
you're basically the person who's like the CIA agent undercover. You're like an entrepreneur undercover as an employee.
I
Does that make
am.
sense?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
I do.
it's like it's like shh. I got an exit strategy. Shh. For now, I'm observing all of you so I can go back and post content about me watching you live your shitty life, which is actually kind of a potential representation of how you feel about your own life.
Hmm.
But you're working on changing it, which is the important piece. Whereas a lot of the people you observe, they're just hopeless. They're just, not everybody. I'm sure some people have secret plans like you, but most people don't. So, another powerful point around this is how much content are you filming at work? I don't know what you do, or in traffic, or, commuting or whatever. Because think about it like this. What do you do, by the way? So I have more context. What's your job?
I'm a consultant on grants, so an
Consultant on what?
office job on grants subsidies.
Oh, grants and subsidies. Okay, so you're in an office job. Okay, great.
Yeah, office job. Yeah,
Okay, so do you have a desk and like your own
yeah,
space and all that?
yeah, yeah, kind of.
O-
Yeah.
Okay, so how much content have you filmed of you like at your desk, like selfie style, like this, or like set it up like a time lapse when you're on your computer? Have you done stuff like that?
Not that much. Today I did one, but yeah, not that much. True.
Okay, so imagine how powerful it's going to be for you. Like, what is your goal with this business? If you were full time, you're making full time income, what would you do with your time? Would you travel? Do you have goals? Or what do you want to do?
Well, my ultimate goal is when in the future I have kids, I can be there for my kids. And I have now a
Okay.
wife and a dog, and I love to travel, but that's more like short term, I would say, in a few years for my kids. That's basically
Beautiful.
the why.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So now imagine how powerful it is for you to be collecting these little clips, and they're all your before clips.
Okay.
And once you
Yeah.
have the after, once you have the playtime with the children, the family holidays where you take them to places they want to go as they grow up, spending time traveling, whatever you do, you can create all these montages of like 2025, and it shows you like in your desk, and then it flips to 2026 or 2027 or something like this, and there's like boom, and then it's like the flash cuts and you're doing this and you're having fun. So a lot of people, when they're in the place they don't want to be anymore, they hide from documenting it, but it's priceless to document this stuff right now because you know that you have a plan to get out. Okay, so those are a couple of quick tips, but let's talk about the specific questions that you had here. So where your transformation will truly begin is in shifting your identity and your energy. Everything else will come much easier once you shift those two things. So that's where you need to focus on when you're doing personal development. Read books around shifting, elevating, evolving your identity. Okay? Because until you identify differently, you will be stuck in this current cycle that you're in. And you kind of mentioned that in your question. So you need to start to declare that you're a professional, high ticket affiliate marketer, and it doesn't matter how much time you're putting in. What matters is how you're showing up with your identity. And you are basically using your job to invest into your future, into your business, where you're going next. You have a plan. Most people don't have a plan.
Mhm.
When you do content, you don't have to pretend that you are someplace that you're not. You don't have to pretend you're making sales if you're not. You don't have to pretend you're making money if you're not. What you need to do is be very, very transparent and clear of where you are now. Describe it in a way that's like, oh, I just can't wait to change it, right? Very honestly, very truthfully. And then towards the end of the piece of content, here's where I'm going. And you shift the energy from like dark, depressed, unhappy when you're talking in the beginning. You shift it to excitement, anticipation, hope, big smile, big energy. Speak a little louder, be more enthusiastic. And what will happen is people will relate with you in the beginning, be like, yeah, man, fuck me too. Fuck. That's the feeling. And then you start to shift and be like, but you know what? I found a community. I found an opportunity. I found a plan. I know exactly what I got to do. I know exactly what I got to learn. I'm working on this part time, but guess what? I'm obsessed. When I get home from work, this is all I think about. This is all I'm doing. Evenings and weekends, all the time. And if I have this level of dedication, this level of commitment, this big vision, this community, this training, I know I'm going to be successful. And I have a plan. If you need a plan, reach out, let's talk. So you're actually selling the fact that you have a plan. You're not selling results. You're not selling sales. You're not selling shit that isn't true, but it is true that you have a plan. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah. Very good
Most
plan.
people don't have a plan. So do you think it's valuable to tell them you have a plan? And if you don't have a better one, maybe borrow the one that I have. Then they're going to say, what's the plan? And you say, watch this video. It's going to break it down for you. Then they watch and go, holy shit, that plan is epic. And now they want to work with you and buy from you and partner with you. Why? Because you introduced them to the plan.
Mhm.
And that is enough. That is enough for me to go, I want to work with you, man, because if it wasn't for you, I would have never found the plan. Make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
And then instead of telling them all these things like, I'll mentor you, I got you, I'll coach you, I'll close your sales for you, which you're not going to be able to do yet, instead you put all of that on the leaders, right? We're learning from seven-figure mentors. We have weekly calls with people that are making sales that you can learn from them. And then you are basically like, let's watch the training together. Let's hold each other accountable. Let's communicate. Let's make sure we stay on track. But we're learning from the people that have done it. And now there's no feeling for you to feel like you're lying, misleading people, or you can't fulfill or you can't follow through. None of that is going to happen. But a lot of people kind of get stuck in this thing of like, I have to pretend that I will do it for you. And you're just screwing yourself over because as soon as the person needs help, you're like, I don't know. But if you just kind of direct everything, the sales training's over here, module 3, the weekly call over here by millionaires on Tuesdays at 6. You're just directing traffic, telling them where things are, and you just participate with them. And then maybe after the call, you have a debrief. What were the 3 things you learned on this call that you're going to do this week? And then you tell them yours, they tell you yours. And that's the partnership that you have, the accountability partnership.
Clear. Yeah.
Then those people, they will start to get sales eventually, and so will you. And then you are evolving into a mentor and a leader with time. You don't need to start there right now. You just need to get your first couple sales to get the ball rolling. All right. So
Yeah.
when it comes to your schedule, your business schedule, so you work 9 to 5, I'm just guessing in terms of your hours. Do you
Yeah.
have a set schedule for your business of what you're doing when? Or is it kind of like you are reacting and just kind of going with the flow and not really being productive?
Yeah, the latter part.
Okay.
It's I know what I want to do on a day, but it's not so structured.
Okay. So now that's where you have this employee mindset that is not transferring to the an entrepreneur mindset, is because at work you probably have a very routine, how you do everything. You're probably doing it automatically, right? You shuffle the
Yeah.
papers, you put them over here, you enter the computer, you make the phone call, repeat. I don't know. I'm just making it up, right? I'm not trying to insult you. I'm just saying there's like a process that you do, right? So
Yeah,
when
definitely.
you come home from work, you need to do the same thing. So you have like the CEO power hour mindset, okay? So you come home, you have 60 to 90 minutes of non-negotiable focused time where you're taking action. You're not watching calls or learning or participating. You're doing the doing. Most people, they get so stuck in the listening, the observing, the watching people in the Facebook groups, the commenting, hey, great job, man, congrats. And they just kind of do all this participating. And then by the time it's time to do, oh, it's pretty late, man. I should probably have some dinner. And my wife says she wants to watch a movie and cuddle. And I'll do the doing tomorrow. And then in your head, I worked on the business. No, you didn't. You watched everybody else work on their business. So you need to shift it to I get home from work, I do the doing first. Or I wake up in the morning and I do the doing before I go to work, which is even better.
Yeah.
Because remember, the best way to guarantee you're going to get the results you want when you say that your priority is freedom or spending time with your future kids, with your family, is to do it first. Because our brains, the most important thing is what we do first. So if we wake up and work on the most important thing, which is your business to set your family free, then you are in alignment with what you say you want. This is my number one goal. I wake up in the morning, I work this on the number one thing. Those two things are in alignment. Now, if you don't do that, you wake up and you get ready for your job, get dressed, have a coffee, have breakfast, then what are you saying to your subconscious? Your job is your most important thing for you. And now you're in conflict, which is what you said in your question. I don't know. I'm confused. I feel like I'm stuck between employee and entrepreneur and I'm all this stuff going on. That's why, because you're not actually being in alignment. So wake up in the morning, do 60 minutes, 60 to 90 minutes on the doing of your business before you go to work. Now, what's going to happen is your whole entire perception of your job will be different because you were working on the escape plan before you went to work. So even if someone's a dick, like your manager comes up to you, hey man, you know you're late on the deadline, you just smile and be like, okay, I'll get it to you in a minute. Because I already did an hour of breaking free from this shit before I arrived at the office. But if you don't do it in the morning and that same manager comes up, hey, gives you a hard time, you're like, oh man, fuck. It's deflating. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Because on one, you're focusing on what you can control. On the other one, you're helpless and everything's happening to you. See the difference?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
So posting valuable content, following up with leads, booking calls, and reviewing what's working and doubling down on what's working is your 60 to 90 minutes of action. Then you need to have micro wins and targets that you're setting. They're called key performance indicators or KPIs. And you need to have a goal that you need to achieve each week. For example, you need to book 5 calls a week with real people on the phone talking about getting started in an agent. That's your target. Now, if you do that consistently, you'll start to get results. You'll start to get some sales. I hit my daily DM goals, something like this, where you're like, I'm going to send 10 DMs through my ads or 10 DMs for my people watching my stories or, keeping up with my content and actually start to celebrate that you're moving the needle forward by taking those action steps every day. You need to get into action. You cannot get into participation, which just sounds like you've been there for 2 years, not enough action and just a lot of personal development and focusing on your health, which is all great. It's not a bad thing. But now we need to shift gears a little bit to action-oriented focus that will start to get you a result. And then you can see if the result is what you want or we need to make some adjustments. Because the next time you ask a question, I want you to tell me something along the lines of, I posted this many pieces of content, I got this many leads, I had this many calls, and this is the outcome that I got. Now we can talk about action and adjustments and tweaking as opposed to more of a question that you had this time, which is totally fine. But we just don't want to continue these questions next time. The last final thing I will tell you is do not quit the job. Do not quit the job until you're making more money than you need from your job, because you will be in a really, really bad place. It will just, it's almost like it's the best way. It's creating such a level of stress and pressure on yourself that most people cannot survive that. Ease into it, build the bridge. Like for example, if you make $5,000 a month in your job as an example, then you want to have like $30,000 in commissions in your business in the bank, so you make $30,000 in commissions from Enagic, put it in savings, and then start to transition out and you have 6 months buffer of no pressure. And by the time that you quit your job, you should already be very predictable in your business. Like I spend this much a month on ads. I get this many leads. I can make 1 or 2 direct sales. Pretty much not guaranteed, but like very likely. Then you're in a good place to make the transition. And if you've never watched the amazing classic on YouTube called The Magic of Part-Time by Jim Rohn, I would highly recommend you watch it. It is a classic. It is incredible. And he talks about that when you have a side hustle or a side business, you are actually the most relatable to your audience in that season of your journey, because that's where most people are going to start. So they're like, oh, you're in a similar spot to me. So that makes them feel like they can do this too, right? And then eventually you have this really unique opportunity where you make the same amount of money part-time as you do full-time in your job. And that's like the golden window. That's when you got to go crazy with many direct sales that you can have. Because what happens in that window is you won't want to stay there very long.
Mm-hmm.
But you should, as long as you can. Like double the time that you want, because it's just such an easy, it's like shooting fish in a barrel in your business at this point. It's too easy. But eventually it becomes this catch-22 where you're like, oh, I know it's all great and I'm making all these sales, but man, I really got to just quit this job, man. This is just kind of stupid at this point. And then you make that shift, then you go full time, and then you have another window, a beautiful window of the life of freedom, like the new, this new chapter, you're free, no more job, very attractive for people to join. And then after a while, in some cases, it becomes harder and harder and harder to be relatable. That's why for me, even though I've got a lot of success and stuff like that, I have a hard time selling to people at the beginning of the business.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now my energetic match to bring people into my business as a direct sale is someone who makes a lot of money and has no time freedom. Because I can have this comparison on the income, and they're like, oh, you're similar to me in terms of income. But then I talk about freedom and lifestyle and leverage and residual, and they're like, oh, I don't have none of that. And that's what makes me connect. But to have someone in a regular 9 to 5 type of income, comparing it to where I'm at 12 years later is a really, really big gap. It's hard for those people to like believe I can work with them and stuff. So I have a different set of challenge with that. I don't get as many sort of normal regular sales anymore because of that. They're just like, dude, I will never catch up. You're 12 years ahead, blah, blah, blah. So it comes with a different sort of set of challenges, right? So you always have to honor where you are in your journey and really double down. But like I said, this next 2 to 3 years for you, beautiful time, because everybody who you are talking to, your audience, people in a 9 to 5, people in these jobs, they're going to feel that relatability. Like you're just like me, except you have a plan and most people don't. And so I would really, really emphasize this whole idea of what is the plan? What is your plan? So you have your personal life plan. You have a wife and a dog and you want to have some children, and this is kind of your timeline. This is how old you are. This is when you want to have your baby. That's great. That's a personal life plan. Awesome. Then you have a business plan to set yourself free. What does that look like? What are the steps? Like if someone decided to be like, I want to get started with you right now, what would be step 1? What would they do? Write it down. They got to watch some shit, right?
Yeah.
What is that? Web class, video, training, YouTube. Everybody's different. What is it for you? Once they watch that and they like it, what do they do next? So if you take the steps, the actual plan, the actual process, step by step, and you write it down on a piece of paper, then you can now communicate it on your content. You can literally say, if you wanted my plan, here's what it looks like. Step 1, I send you a 30-minute video. If you like what you see, step 2, at the end, there's a link to sign up. Step 3, there's 3 hours of information that breaks everything down for you. I'm just making this stuff up. It might not be true for you, but you get the idea. You watch the 3 hours, we break everything down. You like what you see, you get on a phone call with me. I show you how to get started. These are the financing options. This is what it looks like. If you like what you see from there, there's an onboarding that takes 4 weeks for you to set up your online business. So you see how now this actually becomes a plan? It's a real plan, like a business plan. If you went to the bank and you said, I need $1 million, you're like, what's your business plan? You're like, I don't know. I'm going to make some money selling shit. That's not a plan. You don't get the money. You give them a business plan. What happens? You get the money because they actually believe and trust that you have a plan for the money. Then they give you the loan. So this is what we go through a lot of these motions, and we don't realize that we have so much knowledge around how this business works, the steps, the calls, the community, the training videos. You're on the inside. You've seen it all. These people on the outside have no idea. Break it down for them. Because if someone has uncertainty, they will not take action. And a confused person always says no. Even if it's a good thing for them, they'll always say no because they just don't get it. And when we get scared and we don't know, our reflex is no. When we have full clarity and transparency, we can see the next step. It makes sense. I'm willing to invest my time to go through those steps. You're going to increase your odds of someone really seeing the plan and go, yeah, man, I want this plan just like you. And then you're going to get your first couple sales. Make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful.